Hello, everybody. This is the sign-in screen for Mobile Charge. You have the ability here to sign in through two different ways. One being automatically set username or email or password set here as we have shown, or you have also the ability to sign on with single sign-on capabilities like login with Microsoft Active Directory through Azure. Um, as mentioned before, too, Mobile Charge is a completely software as a service cloud-based solution. We have chosen Microsoft Azure as our primary cloud-based system. So integration with Active Directory and those user login accounts are pretty straightforward. From here, we are able to log in to the web application and URL, which will be provided.
Here, you can see the Charge Management System Mobile Charge. The Start screen provides at a glance various data that are important and essential for the operation of the system. We have here in the top left corner various information about past and future consumption. We can see what energy the charging of the electric buses has caused in the last few days. We also have here the possibility to make forecasts for the next few days. Furthermore, we have different indicators about the grid connection power and the maximum consumed energy over the different days. Here in the middle, we find information about the success of the charging operations, how many buses are currently charging, which ones were charged on time, and which ones were charged late. In this right window, we get the information about the weekly consumptions. Here below, we have two views to real-time information. Once on the left, the live status of the charging station. Here we could see how many charging points are currently available, how many buses are charging, and how many are occupied. We have here on the bottom right information about critical charging processes, which means charging processes that are delayed and accordingly cannot be finished charging in the requested time. Here in the list, you can see the information about which charging stations are connected to which buses, what was the time window, and if there are any problems here. For example, here you have a 3-minute delay in a charging process. With this information, error messages are displayed directly by the system. An alarm is triggered, and they are also informed by email or SMS, so you are at all times aware of the status of the charging stations and the charging processes. Here you can see the charging schedule, which is specifically created for you based on various input parameters. This is where we get information from the dispatch systems about the departure times of the buses and the destination state of charge that a bus needs to reach in order to make the next tour. This is important information about the fleet that we use for load management. We have different factors for prioritization. They are made up of the departure time and the destination state of charge. Accordingly, we measure that for the whole fleet and can balance the load so that those buses are provided with the right state of charge by our system and by the charging infrastructure at exactly the right time when they have to go out. Here you can see past loadings and other technical information. You can look into the currently charge loading processes. Here you can see the status currently charging. Target state of charge 100% currently, 70% of it is reached. With our system, you can control the preconditioning of the vehicles so that the buses is also preheated or pre-cooled in time, and this is energy which is necessary for this, is not consumed during the journey, a very important topic. To sum up, you could always see when your buses have to go out, what the current state of charge is, and whether they are on time or late. Now here we have the charging station monitor, where you could see at a glance all the charging stations that are in the depot or on the route. Different depots and route chargers are integrated. You can see filter by different statuses. Now let's pick out the ones that are charging. You can easily filter that here, and then you get the information from the current charging with technical information about temperatures, current power, and the progress of the charging. You could also see which buses are connected to which charging point. There is also the possibility to locate a bus in the depot. After all, it is always a great advantage to know where the buses are currently parked. We also have a similar view for the bus monitor. Here you can see all the electric buses in your fleet, and accordingly, filter by different statuses of the electric buses. Let's pick out the ones that are plugged in. And here you get the information which bus is at which charging station. If it's plugged in, what is the charging window? Is it wide or close in time, or is the bus ready earlier than expected? All information can be exported as reports in CSV or PDF format. We have predefined 3 reports here, But in general, we also have the possibility to add specific custom reports for you. We have a lot of data available, including the minimum data set that might be important for your financial support. Here's a simple list. What was the usage like? Duration? How many charges were there? How long did those charges last? And how much energy was delivered? If we have information from you about the cost, we put that next to it right here, so that we also have a consumption and cost report for the charging process or the charging processes of the fleet.
In a transaction history tab of Mobile Charge, the end user has the ability to review all the past charging transactions that have occurred in the past week. So in this case, this view provides a table spreadsheet type format of the individual transaction ID, the corresponding operator, the depot, the charging station, which connector of the charging station, as well as the corresponding vehicle connected to the charging station. Further information provides things like the vehicle ID as well too. In addition, they provide things like the start time of the charging session and the end time, the overall duration or charging time of the session, the meter start value, the meter stop value, the total energy provided to that vehicle, the corresponding cost estimate of the charging session, the value of the state of charge in percentage, and the end state of charge. Then lastly, the overall state of charge gained in overall percentage as well too. Similar to all the other views, the system has ability to filter, sort, and identify various charging sessions as well too. So in a similar fashion, like a typical spreadsheet, the end user has ability to update or filter if they wanted to find, say, a particular vehicle of note, for example, and follow its overall transaction or charge history. This certainly helps with analyzing data and energy consumption, but also in the cases of vehicle, also assisting in determining overall battery state of health as well, based off the data that's collected here. In a notification center or mobile charge, the end user has the ability to set various notifications to let individuals know of certain situations that may arise. So for example, the all contractor manager has the ability to send various notifications as well as various severity levels as well here too. So to begin with the component side, there is items regarding, say, the mobile charge smart charging engine. So the ability to send out emails to individual and also mark the various severity levels, and also to enable or disable certain alert histories if the end user finds them necessary or not. There's other things like mobile charge system and service notifications, substation monitoring, charging infrastructure, charging procedures, and vehicle fleets. This basically provides the corresponding email to the various personnel that may deem necessary. So in this case, we're looking at all contract managers. Such user groups could be different based off the end use. So the contract views might have a different charging or notification sent. Likewise with the depot managers, likewise with the depot viewers. But at the end of the day, there's various user groups that be created for various account types and various notifications that can be sent to them can all be configured and edited in the notification center. In addition, this also shows overall history of all notifications that have occurred. So this tab will show things like when a status error occurred, when it was created or started, the last event, and so on and so forth. So this shows an overall view of all the various notification changes that have occurred in time, also sortable and filtered through this screen here. And if necessary, the end user could find things a little bit more details. They could click the information tab to see when an event was created, last event, the number of times that this event occurred, and then provide more details like this full description states that the metering is lower than profile, what vehicle, what it was connected to, and corresponding transaction ID and descriptions if that is available. So this overall notification center allows for the configuration, but also a historical review of all the notifications that have occurred in the past. It's fleet. In this view, the end user's ability to create various charging profiles, able to set for a specific group, a depot, and down to an individual charging station layer. In addition, the ability to edit, delete, and reassign charging station is capable here. So for example, the end user has ability to say add a group profile. A profile name can be created, having set as a fallback, how often this could reoccur from a daily or weekly perspective, the unit for the limit, let it be in kilowatts or amps, One schedule could be set from and to time frame, or it could be infinite or forever. Then individual time periods, for example. So if you wanted this to only charge from say 4 a.m. to 6 p.m., for example, the charging session could be set. Then from here, the limit could be set for say only 500 kilowatts to provide between this time for a specific charging group. But diving into existing charging profiles, say in this case, a split charge group, uh, this could show that from here, the overall daily uh, charging profile set the kilowatt units, and basically all day, a limit of only 140 kilowatts for that particular group is provided. This could also be updated accordingly based off any time of use or scheduled demands. One thing to note here is that the system's also able to send charging profiles if the charge management system becomes offline for some reason. In this case, say the offline labeled charging profile. We could edit here and see the profile type is an offline TX default, and in which case, if the charging station is ever disconnected from the charge management system, to basically provide a safety net, there could be a limited overall amount of power that could be provided to those charging stations. This can be done for a number of reasons. One primarily being that if everything is offline and say all charging stations happen to be charging all vehicles, the limit is set so that it does not exceed or safely does not exceed any grid limitations as well here too. Another thought process of these charging profiles is ability to also limit the overall charging session available to preserve overall battery life, for example. Also within the screen, the ability to look at various charging groups can be done and the various charging strategies. So as you can see here, a lot of it's more based off of a split case of how to equally split up the overall power available, but the end user has the ability to create new charging groups associated to a corresponding depot, as well as select a different charging strategy. So things like leftovers, in which case, if what else is left from the overall charging session will be provided to those vehicles connected to it. As I mentioned, split before, and also sequential, which basically say splits the overall charging session. So if you had 200 kilowatts, a sequential split or a split would be 100, 100, then a sequential, how that would work was the 200 kilowatts would fully charge one vehicle. Then when that's complete, the other vehicle would get the full 200 kilowatt once the first one is completed, for example. Again, the overall user has the ability to add, edit, delete these various charging groups, as well as have the overall view. In the tariff section of mobile charge, the end user has the ability to add various pricing structures to allow for the charging session to run with. In this particular case, the ability has add a tariff. You're able to create a profile and name, able to say label it if it has one season for summer or winter, for example, the validity from a certain date, for example. So in this case, we'll go with summer season and have summer season 1 here. Able to set the corresponding timeline. So let's say June 1st, for example, to October 1st. Be able to set the certain time of use. So in this particular case, we'll say it's from 5 in the morning to 5 at night. Say this is a peak session, for example, then the corresponding cost. In this case, it might be, say, 50 cents, for example. Then this is recurrent for, say, whatever particular date, but could also set as all week. Then we're able to add this particular tariff profile to the over user. But one thing to note about this is that although this information is adding manually, a lot of this information can be provided through API and automatically added and obliged to when it comes to the various charging profiles. So in this case, this just shows a manual way of adding a certain tariff or price structure when it comes down to cost of electricity. But a lot of this information can be added automatically through API and connections to things like OpenADR, for example. So this shows basically a high-level overview of the various tariff sections of adding corresponding costs to energy that's respected overall in the charging strategy profiles.